Good evening, everyone. In the previous session of Management of Financial Services, I was explaining about the methods of floating new issue in the market. I have already explained three methods. Only one method is left, which I am going to explain today in this session. And then after completing the last method of floating new issue, I am going to explain the procedural aspect of new issue. Means what are the various steps followed in each and every method of floating new issue. For example, the steps in private placement, steps in right issues, offer for sale. So that is the procedural aspect of new issue. Okay, so let's begin the session. So the last method of floating new issue in the market is called right issue. So basically, right issue is a method which is only used by the existing companies, existing organization, whenever they require additional funds. So whenever there is some kind of financial problem, financial crunch within the organization, and they want to raise funds, not through any kind of debt, but they want to raise funds by the issue of shares, they can go for right issues. So what does right actually mean? So here a right means an option to buy certain securities at a certain privileged price within a certain specific period. So a right means that the existing shareholders have the right to purchase certain securities at a certain price within a specific time period. So right issue is basically means that whenever any kind of security is issued through the process of right issued, that is provided to only the existing shareholders. Okay, after after getting the shares through right issues, it is up to the existing shareholder whether they want to keep it with themselves or they want to resell it in the market. So whatever shares or securities are issued by an existing company in the form of right issue, it is provided, it is given to the existing shareholders. So the shares offered to the existing shareholders are called right issues. Okay. So this is the basic meaning of right issue. Clear? Now, for example, a company ABC Limited has issued certain equity shares through the method of right issue. So the existing shareholders, they have the privilege to purchase all the new equity shares. Okay. After purchasing the new equity shares, it is up to them whether they want to keep it with themselves or they want to resell it. Now, a point is mentioned here, certain privileged price. So obviously the right issues, the shares issued under the method of right issue, the price of the share will be obviously less than the face value. It may be provided at discount also. So that is the certain privileged price. They have the privilege to purchase shares at a lesser price. Okay, and this right is only provided to the existing shareholders. Okay, now these rights are issued to the existing shareholders at a particular proportion. Now what is the proportion? For example, a particular shareholder holds around 10% of the total equity shares, not right issue, but which is issued previously. So a shareholder holds 10% of the total shares. When again right issued is provided to those shareholders, they will be given 10% of the total right issue. Okay, now it is up to the existing shareholder to accept the right issue or they can let it go also. They can also not subscribe to that right issue. So again, I am going to repeat this point. For example, a shareholder has 10% of total shares. When right issue will take place, out of the total quantity, the existing shareholder holding the 10% of the equity share will be provided 10% of the total right issue. Okay, so that is the proportion given to the existing holders depending upon how much shares they hold in the organization. So the right issue will have the same kind of proportion with the existing shares. Okay, So that is the process used for providing or issuing right issues to the existing shareholders. Now these right issues, the shares which are issued in the form of through the method of right issues, they are resellable. They can be sold in the secondary market. Like I said, it is up to the existing shareholder whether to hold on the right issues or they can also sell it in the secondary market. Okay. Now, what type of company can go for right issues? First of all, according to SEBI, according to the rules and regulations, an organization uh, an organization which is operating since 2 years, they only can issue right issues or 1 year after the initial issues. So whichever is less, depending on that, they can go for right issues. So organization which is existing since 2 years, they have the right to issue right issue, and organization can issue right issue or they can go for right issue after 1 year of the initial subscription. Okay, so that is the criteria for the right issues. Now I am going to explain the important features of right issues. First of all, whenever an organization, the first feature is that whenever an organization goes through a financial problem, critical financial problem, they go for right issues. Company which is having sufficient amount of fund with them, they do not go for right issues because they have to issue those shares to the existing shareholders. So the first feature is that the organization which are going through financial problems, they can go for right issue, the method of right issue. Okay. The next feature is that it facilitates preferential treatment to the existing shareholders. So right issues also protects the dilution of ownership. The existing shareholders get a preferential treatment because they are the existing shareholders and they are given the new subscription or the new issues. Clear? So they are getting some kind of preferential treatment in case of right issues. Okay. The next one is the existing shareholders has the leverage to trade with other interested parties. Like I said, if the existing shareholders do not wish to hold on to the new issues, they can resell that in the secondary market, or whichever party which is interested, they can sell those new shares to those parties. Clear? The next one is the additional share is always in proportion to the existing shareholder. So according to the total holdings of the existing share, according to that only new issues will be provided to them. So that's why additional shares are always in proportion to the existing shareholdings. Okay. The last one is the shareholders have the right to dismiss the right issue. Means they have the right to not to accept the right issue. They can dismiss the right issue, but after that the issues will be distributed among the other existing shareholders. For example, few existing shareholders do not want to purchase additional shares. They are dismissing the right issue. That proportion will be sold to the other existing shareholders who are interested to purchase the new issue. Okay. So these are the 5 important features of right issues. Now I am going to explain the advantages of the right issue. What are the basic advantages of right issue? The first one is raising money with ease. First of all, it does not involve that kind of process when they are going for a public issue, because here if shares are issued to the existing shareholders, it becomes an internal matter. So procedure is not very complicated, steps are very few. That's why it is one of the easiest method of raising finance without having any kind of complications, without going through any kind of excessive procedure and all. So raising money is very easy with using the method of right issue. Okay. The next point is increases promoters' shareholdings. So promoters now have the chance to increase their shareholdings when right issue takes place. They will get more and more number of shares according to their existing shareholdings. Okay, so promoters' shareholdings will definitely increase. Next one is expansion without debt. So when right issue is considered, there is no question of debt. There is no question of going for debt financing or paying interest on that. So they can expand the organization, they can expand the company without involving debt in it. They can simply issue additional shares in the form of right issues to the existing shareholders. So the procedure is also very simple, and there is no question of going for debt financing, and this financing will lead to expansion of the organization at very lower cost also. Okay, the next one, record date and pricing. So whenever such kind of issues are supposed to be announced, a date will be fixed and the existing shareholders will be notified regarding the date and regarding the pricing of the issues before the issue date. So that gives some kind of advantage to the existing shareholders, whether they feel interested in purchasing the new issue or they would prefer to dismiss the new issues. So before the date of right issue, the exact date when the right issue is going to be conducted and the price of the right issue, all the details will be informed to the existing shareholders in advance. Okay, so these are some of the important advantages of right issues. So now I am going to explain the procedural aspect of a new issue. So here, first of all, I am going to explain the steps which are involved in the method of different types of new issues like right issues, private placement, public offering, IPOs, and offer for sale. So first of all, I am going to explain the procedure of right issues and what are the various steps followed in the process of right issue. Okay. So the first step in the right issue, in the procedural aspect of right issue, is that notice of board meeting. So before conducting or before issuing shares through the method of right issues, a notice of board meeting will be sent to all the shareholders before 7 days of the meeting. For example, if a meeting is conducted on a particular day, before 7 days of that meeting, the notice regarding the meeting will be sent to all the shareholders. Okay. The second point is hold board meeting. After sending information regarding the board meeting, the board meeting will be conducted where a resolution will pass. This is the resolution regarding the right issue, and the board can pass the resolution regarding right issue and offer the shares to the existing shareholder. Then comes letter of offer. After passing the resolution, a letter of offer will be sent to all the shareholders, existing shareholders, either through registered post, speed post, or through any electronic media. All the existing shareholders will be sent the letter of offer 3 days before the opening of the new issue. So whenever the new issue will open, before 3 days, the letter of offers will be sent to the existing shareholders, all the existing shareholders. So first of all, I'll go through again. First of all, they will conduct a notice of board meeting. They will send a notice regarding the board meeting, regarding the date of the board meeting, when the board meeting is going to be conducted. Before 7 days of the board meeting, the notice will be sent to all the shareholders. Then the meeting will be held, a resolution will be passed. No approval is required for this resolution. A resolution regarding right issue will pass, and then a letter of offer will be created, and it will be sent to all the existing shareholders 3 days before the opening of the issue. Okay, these are the initial 3 steps. Then comes subscription period of acceptance. Now the shareholders will get the letter of offer. Now they have to send there will be a subscription period of acceptance, which means that the shareholders must send that they have accepted the offer, and they have to send their acceptance within 15 days or at most within 30 days. So within that time period only the existing shareholders can accept the letter of offer. Okay. If they do not accept the letter of offer within these days, they do not send any kind of information regarding the acceptance of the offer, then after that they cannot subscribe for the new issues. Okay, then comes accept application money. So since after the acceptance of subscription period, means within that time period, the applications will be sent regarding the issue, regarding the subscription of the new issue. Okay, so after receiving the application money, after receiving the application from the existing shareholders, information, again a board meeting will be conducted, and the information or notice regarding the board meeting will be sent to all the existing shareholders 7 days before the board meeting. And when the board meeting will be conducted, allotment of shares will take place in the board meeting. Okay, so after getting the applications, a board meeting will be conducted, and information and notice of the board meeting will be sent to all the existing shareholders before 7 days of the meeting, and the agenda of the meeting will be mentioned in the notice of board meeting, and the allotment of shares will actually take place in the board meeting. And then the next step is called allotment of shares. The existing shareholders who have applied for the shares, they will be allotted shares, and these allotment of shares will be conducted within 60 days of receiving application. So after 60 days they cannot be allotted shares. So when, for example, a company has issued an application today regarding acceptance of regarding acceptance of new subscription, they have received application today, they have to allot the shares within 60 days of receiving those application. So that will be allotment of shares. The shares will be allotted within 60 days of receiving application. Okay, so after allotment of shares, a form will be submitted to registrar of the company, ROC. The form is PAS3. That form will be submitted after 30 days of allotment of shares to the ROC. That is the next step in the procedural aspect of new issues. Okay, so after 30 days of allotment of shares, a form PAS3 will be submitted to the ROC by the director of the company. Okay, the next one is issue of share certificate. So after filling the forms of ROC, filling the form PAS3 to ROC, then the share certificates will be issued by the company to the existing shareholders, and this will be done within 2 months of allotment of shares. Okay, so this is the process of right issue regarding board meeting, holding board meeting. So each and every procedure needs to be followed strictly, because specific number of days are mentioned within which each step must take place, whether it is board meeting, whether it is allotment of shares, whether it is filing of forms to ROC. So each and everything must be done within that specified time period. Okay, now the existing shareholders need to also inform, like I said, when they get a letter of offer, they need to inform, they need to apply for the share, they need to send application money within specific dates only. So these steps are very important, and these steps needs to be followed by each and every company who wants to issue securities or shares with the through the method of right issue. Okay, so this is the step-by-step procedure of right issue. The next is the procedural aspect of private placement. Like right issues also, private placement also has many steps, but you can understand that there is a huge difference between the steps of right issues and the steps of private placement. Okay, okay, then here you can clearly see that the steps are different from the right issues. So that's why I said each and every method of floating new issues will have different procedure. Okay, so here the first step in the private placement, procedural aspect of private placement, is terms and conditions. Now here terms and conditions are mentioned based on the maturity time period and the features of different types of securities which are to be issued. information regarding the maturity date, the yield rate, the issue of the security, the redemption of the security, the value of the security, those needs to be properly disclosed, and those are mentioned so that the issue houses or the parties who are interested in the private placement, they can clearly understand each and every terms and conditions related to the security, whether it is related to the value of the security or the maturity time period. Each and every information must be clearly mentioned. Okay. The second step is credit rating. So here one thing needs to be very clear, that credit rating is given by different agencies like CRISIL and CARE. They provide credit rating not to the organization but to the specific instrument. So whatever security or instrument is to be issued by the company, certain kind of rating must be given to them by the credit rating agency. So that is very important. Whatever rating is given by the credit rating agency, that needs to be disclosed so that the investors can understand the risk involved in the security, what is the rating of such kind of security, and after that they can take a decision regarding investment in such securities. Okay. So credit rating is specifically provided to each and every instrument separately. It is not provided to the company. It is only provided, it is only given to the securities. Depending upon the yield rate, depending upon the value of the security, maturity period, everything. Clear? The next one is confidential information memorandum. That is the third step in the private placement. So while issuing shares, prospectus is created where information about the shares issued, total capital, means total number of shares to be issued. Each and every detail about the organization is mentioned in the prospectus. In the same way, confidential information memorandum contains information about the security, information about the private placement, about the issue, about the company, about each and every aspect which is related to the private placement. All the information will be mentioned in the confidential information memorandum, CIM. So that all kind of information, whether it is related to the security to be issued, the value of the security, maturity date, or each and every kind of information about the organization, about the company, directors, will be mentioned in the CIM. Okay. And after that, trustee to the issue will be provided. So a trustee is very much necessary in this issue to protect the rights of the investor. So basically, the trustees are usually banks or any financial institution. So they act as a trustee. So the organization decides who will be the trustee in a particular private placement, whether it is going to be a bank or a financial institutions. Okay. So that the rights of the investors can be protected. The private placement can be conducted in a fair manner without exploiting the investors. Clear? The next one is pre-launching formality. A pre-launching formality here simply means that the CIM which is created having the detailed information about the security and the company will be sent as an invitation to the investors, issue houses or any other investors, so that they can understand about the security, they can understand about the company, they will get complete information about the private placement, and before 2 days before the issue or the private placement, they will receive that CIM. They can go through all the information and then they can take a decision whether to purchase it or not. Okay. So that is the pre-launching formality. Next one is pricing the issue. So here the price of the issue needs to be also informed to the investors, to the issue houses before the private placement. So that information also needs to be clearly provided to the investors or issue houses, merchant bankers. Clear? The last step is post issue step or after issue. When the issue is conducted, allotment will take place. So they will go through the subscription. If there is over subscription, they will send the money within a particular time period, and the securities will be issued to according to the allotments. It will be issued to the various investors. Clear? So these are the steps of private placement. So here Right issues, specific days are not mentioned in case of right issues, but different methods have different steps. So these are the steps which are needed to be followed when a company wants to conduct a private placement. Clear? In the next session, I am going to explain the procedural aspect of IPO, and then I am going to explain the procedural aspect of offer for sale. So that's it for today. We will meet in the next session. Thank you.